CNBC reports Senate moves forward with Israel-Ukraine funding after vote on Super Bowl Sunday. You see, this was the real purpose of, I'll put it this way. The PSYOP, if there is one in my opinion, was to create a conspiracy theory of a PSYOP so that all of these Trump supporters would be posting photos of Travis Kelce and videos of it, like they're doing all yesterday, and not paying attention to the fact the Senate voted to move forward with funding for Israel and Ukraine. However, Rand Paul is in a filibuster right now to try and block it. But here we go. $60 billion to Ukraine, $15 million to Israel, and
some to Taiwan as well.
And some to Taiwan as well, and nothing to the border.
Right.
Why? Why would we do that?
Well, because when people realized the border deal was actually an amnesty bill, they were like, okay, just get rid of that and just go straight for the dump American money into a foreign country.
So they also buried an impeachment clause in this bill that if the president doesn't follow through with this funding, he's impeached.
Or they can impeach him.
Yeah, they can impeach him, yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's kind of good news in a way. You know, it's bad news. They're playing these dirty games, but it's kind of indicative of they fear Donald Trump is going to win.
Yeah, I think it is. Because why else would you have to bury that clause there if you thought Joe Biden was going to be there?
Yeah,
why would you need this stick rather than a carrot measure?
At the very least, they are scared that Donald Trump is going to win. Not that he's guaranteed to win.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure they are. I think because of the polls and because of Biden, it's completely reasonable to be worried about whether or not he can actually bring it back over the goal line. But when it comes to this piece of legislation, or the part in the piece of legislation, they're just looking for any way that they can get Donald Trump. So if they can set it up, whereas
it's a trap.
There's some kind of, he gets in and something happens and they can come up with a way to justify impeaching him. They will forever. The Rubicon has been crossed forever now. Mm-hmm. Impeachment is a new political tool that's going to be used every chance that whatever side gets. Mm-hmm. This is the new normal. Politics in the U.S. is not going to get better. It's only
I don't think it's the new normal.
You know why?
Because I don't think there will be a system in place long enough for it to be normal at all.
That would be.
It's just the current trend right now.
That would just be.
No, it's just, I mean, like, it'll happen one time and then something worse happens next time.
Yeah, that's right. There are other catastrophes come along, change the whole narrative, shift the ground under your feet. That's what's been happening.
Yeah, but I agree with your sentiment. It's just the idea that it's a new normal would imply that we will persist in this state for more than one election cycle.
How fast things degrade does matter, yes.
Yeah, so I feel like in the sense that they are going to use impeachment as a tool, the answer is yes, but it will cause such crisis within our political system, the system likely will implode on itself well before it could happen again.
I mean, that could very well happen.
Yeah.
Do you have any predictions about the next year going into 2024?
To the election and all that? Well, I'm going to win the LP nomination.
And then a landslide victory, 49 states for the Libertarian Party. In the
that's right. But no, I'm running against these people. So I'm running to be a messenger who shifts the Overton window, if possible, at this late date, towards liberty and away from this authoritarian layer upon layer of the state. Kennedy's supposed to be this this dissident, but he's all about adding more bureaucratic layers to the state. It's unbelievable.
I have a conspiracy theory for you guys. RFK Jr. is actually working for the deep state to suppress the Libertarian Party vote.
Yeah, I think that's actually fair. I always thought he pulled from running a Democrat campaign under threat from the DNC, basically saying, you have to run as an independent this year. Maybe we'll consider you in the future. He's
pulling from Democrats, but the polls, when the polls include Biden, Trump, or anyone else actually scores double digits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which means that if RFK Jr. was not running, the Libertarian Party might actually crack double digits. Yeah.
And he's coming to our convention in California where I'll be debating him.
Really?
When is that happening?
On February 24th.
February 24th.
I am the final defense against RFK trying to take over the Libertarian Party for this election.
I can't imagine the Libertarians accepting that.
No, I agree with that. But there are a lot of people in the Mises Caucus who want RFK Jr. to take the LP ticket.
Well, there's a little bit of a prevarication that went on about that topic, if I must. The LP, the Mises Caucus, the official Mises Caucus, does not support RFK Jr. at all.
Right.
They have endorsed me. They've also endorsed the vice presidential candidate too. And I'll come up with his name in a second. He's a good friend of mine, but anyway. Clint Russell.
Right.
So they endorsed Clint Russell as the VP candidate. They endorsed me as the presidential candidate. They've written extensively how they don't support RFK Jr. He is anathema to libertarianism.
He's not good on anything.
Nothing.
He's the only thing, like, people
Except
think
COVID and Ukraine. That's it.
He's not even. He's good on COVID and vaccines in that he doesn't want to have the government force you to take vaccines. But that's the end of it.
That's it.
And also, if that's the
Well, he tweeted about the border.
That's true.
Okay,
what
so
he
he's
wants to
talked
do is
about the
put. He
border.
wants to. He's
said
all
secure the
about
border.
regulation, right? So he wants to change. To enforce regulations and to get the corporations. He called these big corporations are the big enemy. Get them out of everything. Never looking at the other side of the issue, which is the state. That's who's the problem is.
especially when you're dealing with the border.
Yes.
Clearly, it's the state.
Right. This open borders policy is a federal policy. And I go up against the other libertarians on this because I don't think that this open borders policy is libertarian at all because I
think framing is important,
yes.
and I wouldn't call it federal policy. I would call it rogue state policy.
Yeah.
The federal government has constitutional restrictions, and one of those is that the federal government has to do certain things like defend states from invasion.
Technically, yeah.
Having Customs and Border Protection commit crimes against humanity on the southern border is not indicative of the federal government. Here's what I'm trying to draw this distinction on. We should not accept criminal actions from federal agents as what the government does. We should say those are criminal elements who are wearing badges, committing crimes. And my fear with the normalization of it is, if a criminal, like it's like a squatter being in a house, and then you calling him a resident. No. Yeah. Keep calling them squatters. Don't call them residents.
I'm not talking about the actual government's official policy now. I'm talking about what some libertarians want: open borders.
Oh no, yeah.
Period. Yeah. And I would say that would become then a federal government position.
It's a violation of the Constitution to have open borders.
It is.
So the libertarians can say all they want.
Not all of them.
But this is one of the things the Libertarian Party has fractured over. I mean, this was a hotly debated for a long time, and ultimately, I don't think anyone who thinks of themselves as a libertarian today really accepts that you could maintain libertarian values and also have an open border. Maybe
There are leftists in the Libertarian Party that strongly argue.
Like I said, it's already a fractured issue, but I don't think
they think
Caucus,
that they equate
the Mises Caucus generally. Well, no, some of the Mises Caucus do. Some of them are.
What they do, this is actually the default libertarian position. They equate the movement of goods, or capital, with the movement of people. And they say they're the same. So if you could have if goods are free to cross borders, then people should be without restrictions. But there's a difference between people and goods.
Yeah.
People have will; they can do it without being asked to come.
People have motivations.
If goods are purchased, they have been invited into the country. That's different than people just up on their own volition entering the country. So,
yeah, open borders basically means you don't have a country at all. And the Constitution requires defense from invasion. So anyway, what I was trying to say is, we accept the squatters and the corrupt and the criminals, and we act like they are the authority. And if we just said, nah, you're not, we don't agree with you, we don't take orders from you, things would be very, very different. Unfortunately, I guess we have a lot, maybe it's too many people. So social order breaks down when a civilization gets too large. You know, the question I have is, why does a CBP agent think it is okay to work with cartel members? Because his boss told him to.
Yeah.
If we were in a small community and, the sheriff, like, let's say 100 people.
Right.
And the guy said, hey, go handle those smugglers. And he'd be like, are you nuts? Like, I can't do that. Everyone's going to find out what I did. But when it's a massive system and the CBP agents don't know and don't care, they don't know you, they don't care about you, their boss said do it, they're going to do it because when they go to the bar to buy a beer, the bartender's like, don't know you, don't care, here's a beer. And so the social order breaks down when we separate from our communities.
That's why I'm for decentralization and localization and getting power away from the federal government as much as possible, vesting it in the people locally and resisting the federal government's incursions against the local people.
Do you feel like the libertarian message that message in particular, do you think that message resonates nowadays when people's ability to connect over the internet has become so vast and so fast? Because I feel like the reason that we don't have more libertarians in positions in the federal government and in other governments is because there's not really, the American people say a whole lot about wanting to have liberty, but what they really want is safety. Mm-hmm. And I think that the majority of people want safety, and I think that's driven mostly by the culture of safety that people have in the U.S. today, in the West. Do you think that there isn't a market for libertarian ideas anymore?
There is a market for libertarian ideas, but I think they have to be framed properly, as Tim put it. And in the case of decentralization, I have noticed that people look at me like, what are you talking about? Because it puts the onus on them rather than some white knight riding into D.C. like claiming to be able to fix everything. It puts the onus on people themselves to do something on the local level, to run for office, to take control of the local level, and then to resist the central government as much as possible. And that's how this country was founded. It was founded under subsidiariness, or actually, it's the doctrine of the lesser magistrates. That is, the local power is really preeminent.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.